Hey everyone, Coach Greg here. Welcome back to Living Empowered, where we inspire women to live amazing, empowered lives. Hey, today's a topic that is relevant to many of my clients and many of the women in my life, incidentally. It's about what every woman should know about menopausal weight gain. Raise your hand if you're in that camp. Right. We're also going to touch on some eating things that are going to help you get away from that. We're going to touch on some fitness that helps you get away from that. Things, the easy stuff that you can help yourself with. I call this like checking the gas in the gas tank. When your car stops working, you don't rebuild the motor automatically. You go do the easy stuff first. So I'm going to give you some tips and hints on how to help yourself with that. I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. I do have a nutrition cert. I have a lot of clients. So this is all based on real world experience with my clients, my family members, my friends, those things that I know to work, and research that's out there, my own research and results, etc. So if you have any questions on this topic regarding your hormones, hormone levels, testing, anything like that, any disease related, check with your doctor. I'm going to give you practical real world stuff that actually applies to almost everything you do to maintain your health. This is going to sound familiar to you. A whole bunch of it will, but at the same time, it's all relevant. It's funny how the whole body works together, making these things happen. So stay tuned and we will be right back and get this thing going. All right, welcome back, everyone. All right, so get your pen and paper ready or just listen and absorb. Again, this is what every woman should know about menopausal weight gain. You know, it happens. It happens to men as well. Obviously not the menopause, but we call it menopause here. But the hormones change as you get older. Your body changes as you get older. There's no getting around it. Whether you change, you may be one of the people that never changes the way you look. Your body type, your body style, your body shape may never change. Most people do. There's every few years your body goes through some adjustments. We all think, oh yeah, back in high school, we're so far removed from high school. Most of us, you can't think about that. You were young, energetic, your life was different. Now you've got kids, jobs, stresses, spouses, all the things that are different in your world that are going to impact your life. And they also impact hormones and things. So really, your weight gain can have consequences more serious than just outgrowing your favorite jeans or your favorite skirt, or not liking the way your thighs look or something uncomfortable like that. You know, I know you're with me because this is what I hear from my female clients all the time. But there's things that are affected by this. That could be diseases and things that go with these as well. So you really got to pay attention to what's going on with your body. Like I said earlier, check with the doctor if you think this is part of the issue. If you said, I've tried all of these different eating things, I've tried the latest fad diet. Fad diets are just that. They're fad diets. Make sure you do something based on science and common sense. Those things matter. And then before you go run off doing a bunch of things, make sure you're honest with yourself. Why honest with yourself is I see people, oh yeah, you know what? I've been dieting really good. I'm not losing any weight. So let's write down what you're doing and things like, oh, you know, I had like a little bit of chocolate last night. Okay, that's not a big deal. If it's a little bit, how much is a little? Like 9 or 10 Hershey's Kisses. Okay, we're just past a little on that one. I've heard that before. How often do you do that? Most every night. Okay, that's not going to help you. Putting sugar in right before bedtime, that's not going to help. So stuff like that. So before you go run off, make sure you're truly being honest with yourself. A lot of times we have a hard time with that. It seems like we are. That's when tracking, people are like, oh, I hate writing things down. Don't make it rocket science when you write things down. When I'm looking at food logs for people, I just want to know, what did you eat and what time you ate it? Beyond that, we'll get deeper into that, but let's start with the basics. So for yourself, if you just jot down a couple of days, every time you eat something or drink something, write it down, put it in your phone, just a quick note in your phone. Got up, cup of coffee, sung by the donut store, grab that. Starbucks Frappuccino. It's just a quick login. That's all it needs, and what time you ate it. Because you can also look for gaps in times. Are you eating right on top of each other? Are you eating 6 or 7 hours apart? Or are you staying within like the 4-hour give or take window, which is going to be the most healthiest for you to maintain energy levels and consistency for yourself? So understanding the estrogen, let's go with that first. So number one, understanding the estrogen. Again, I'm going to keep things very simple, not medical, just understandable. So estrogen levels drop during menopause, period. Just like guys, the testosterone level drops as you get older. So when that happens, your metabolism also slows down. That is going to create weight gain, some lethargy maybe. It's going to create a lot of changes in your body. That's the opportunity your body has to like go sideways on you. Your body's going to burn fewer calories and even store more fat. The two things we don't want to have happen, right? So number two, there's another fact about it, is watch your waistline. When extra pounds go on, how do you gain them? Are you gaining them in your waistline? Are you gaining them in your hips? Things like that. Those are indicators of potential disease indicators and things. So when I say potential, that doesn't mean you have something. That means all of the studies and things like men with a wider waist are more likely to have different cancers and things than the ones that don't. Same with the women. So the waistline, if your waistline's getting up over 30 plus or 35 inches or so, double check, maybe check with your doctor, because this sets you up for things later down the road. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. It could be a higher risk for a diabetes, a heart disease, and other conditions. Heart disease sucks because not only has it become the #1 killer of women, but it's one of those things. I heard a doctor buddy of mine lecture once, and he said the #1 symptom of heart disease, get this, it's a symptom, not like when you get a cold, your nose starts running, you're like, ooh, I'm getting a cold. You can take preventative measures. First symptom of a heart disease issue for a lot of people is a heart attack. Get that, it's a heart attack. So you may or may not live through your very first symptom. How striking is that? That's massively striking. You may or may not live through that first symptom. So I highly recommend that if you're in a situation where you are gaining a lot of weight and things, go get all those things checked. Make sure your heart health is okay. Make sure there's no other issues that you need to be aware of with yourself and your doctor, okay? So understanding this, so your estrogen is going to slow down your metabolism, you're likely going to gain weight. These are not absolutes either. Every body is a little bit different. Check your thyroid too. Thyroids, it can have conditions, similar symptoms, including weight gain, excuse me, as well as like some possible depression, possible fatigue. That thing slows down, you're going to feel tired all the time. But your doctor can go through there, give you some tests and determine where you really are at, and they can address it with them. But also be realistic. Be realistic as you get older. Expect changes to happen. So if you're expecting them, not living back in high school still, it still just cracks me up that occasionally I'll say it too. Yeah, when I was 25, I lifted, because I lift like I'm 25 sometimes. The next day I feel like I'm 80. So my body reminds me that I'm not 25. So keep in mind where you are today. Embrace where you are today. It is what it is. Today is today. It's not yesterday. It's not tomorrow. There's no absolutes except today. It is what it is. But expect those changes. If you're expecting them, then you can prepare for them. You can do preventative things for them. You can take care of yourself so that you feel better. All right. So here's what we do. Here's one thing to help prevent the menopausal weight gain. This is going to be simple stuff. You can say, Coach, I've heard all this stuff before. Maybe so. Maybe it's a good time to write it down. It's certainly a good time to implement them. So I'm going to challenge you here. Pick at least one thing today and take that away with you. Take it away and implement it immediately. Even if it's just drinking more water, it's that simple. So it could be the water, it could be taking out fried foods, it could be taking dairy out, a number of things. So, but putting on extra pounds later in life is very common, but not necessary. And it's not an excuse. Oh, I'm older, so I'm heavier. Not always an excuse, because I watch people eat, and as they get older, oh, I don't eat too much. And then you watch them just power down a ginormous plate of food, thinking, my goodness, I don't think I could have eaten that much. I've been at tables with those kind of folks. I usually take half of my stuff home. You watch them eat a massively large meal, and you're like, what are you going to take home? You're going to take all that food home in your belly, and you're going to wear it the next couple of days, because it's going to get stuck to you. You're not burning the calories off. Remember, if you take those calories in, you're going to have to burn them off somewhere. Otherwise, you're going to store them. Are you going to store them as extra hips? Are you going to store them as extra love handles? Where are you going to store them? It's as simple as that. So here we go. A University of Pittsburgh study found that women who made two simple changes in the way they eat lost dramatic calories. So let me say that like in a regular sentence. They changed two and they lost weight. Simple as that. And it's basic stuff that we still talk about now. It just applies to everyone. It applies to the diabetics, the type 2s, which is controllable usually. And it talks to people that want to gain weight, lose weight, drop fat, gain more energy. That's the one I was looking for. A couple basic things. So skip desserts and sodas, sugar sodas. When I say skip dessert, what I mean is don't be having, like the example I gave earlier, 10 chocolate kisses every night is not okay, because that's just putting sugar in, and that is now a habit. So now you've got a mental thing to change. It's not a treat anymore. It's a habit. If you don't have it, you're going to be kind of like, I'm going to have something. You may eat that. You may eat something else instead. But it becomes a nighttime ritual, a habit. Been there too many times. I'm like, ooh, it's nighttime. I think I should have something. I'm like, well, I'm not even hungry. It's just a habit. I know it is. So I got to self-check those things. I struggle with it like everybody else, but a lot of my clients are that way. So when you're going to have a dessert, have some, but have a small sliver of something. If it's a pie, and then make sure it's something quality. By quality, I mean it's something you really want to have. Don't have a cookie because it's just sitting there. Don't have a cake for the fact that it's just sitting there. Oh, someone made a cake. That's nice. It's just adequate. Don't eat it. It's not worth the calories. I was asked myself, I tell my clients, I say, are the calories of what you're eating worth it? You go, it was the most amazing thing I ever ate. And I said, then it was worth it. You'll take care of it the next couple of days, but it's worth it that way. When you're eating things that are just there, that's an absolute way to gain weight. And then again, perpetuates that habit. You don't want that. Soda's one of the worst things you could possibly have is the soda, sugar soda. The sugar in there is horrible. The other ingredients are horrible. There's nothing good that comes from a soda. Zero, nothing. So the sooner you can take that out of your diet, the better. Especially if you're drinking regular sodas, that's you're just dumping sugar in your system. And look at how much sugar is in those. Anywhere from like 25 to 60 grams of sugar. That's more than a day's recommended in a drink. That's the trouble these days. A lot of these things have a whole day's serving of something, sugar, fat, what have you, in a single serving. You have that one, and then you go have some more and some more and some more. And now you've accumulated a ton just one day. Now you're way behind and your system's out of whack. So start cutting down on the sugar. Cut it down or cut it out. We're coming up on the season to cut out stuff, and that's going to be one of the things I'm out. I don't eat a ton of sugar because it bothers my stomach. So I have just an immediate effect. That tells me my body does not like it. It says, stop eating that because you're going to feel miserable. So, but I'm going to cut it all the way out. I'm going to cut some of the carbs on it too. But take it out. You will feel better. Okay, number 2, reduce your overall calories. This is the number one thing I tell people always. They're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to eat. And I said, okay, first of all, whatever you're about to eat, cut it in half. Like, what? Yeah, cut it in half. Generally, our portion sizes are at least 2 servings. At least 2 servings, I say. The sandwich bread sometimes is massive. Like we get the sourdough, because it's not a bad bread, but the bread size is this big. And you make a whole sandwich on that. That is actually 2 sandwiches for sure. Cut that bread in half, put your sandwich together, eat just the single piece. That's half the calories. Because if it's a whole thing in front of you, you're going to eat the whole thing most likely, or you're more likely to eat it. If you're out to dinner or you're serving a lot in someplace where you just got the self-serve, it's natural to overpower your plate. So I recommend when you're loading your plate, if it's your option, put on the vegetables and the healthy things first, and the proteins first. Because when you start putting proteins and salads and things like that on your plate, you no longer have room for extra carbs, extra fats, extra other stuff. I know they're super tasty sometimes, but have those as small side dishes. I'm not saying deprive yourself. I don't believe in that either, because you're going to go at some point, okay, I can't stand this anymore. I'm going to go have just a giant tub of ice cream. Don't want you doing that either. So have little amounts, but start with your meals. Cut the meal in half. It's quite simple. And in the beginning, you'll be thinking, oh, I'm still hungry, because mentally you're thinking that's not what I eat. I should be hungry is what you're thinking. But your body, give it about 30 minutes, and I almost guarantee you're going to feel satisfied, if not full. And once you start doing this over and over on that smaller amount, and use a smaller plate, the smaller amount, you're going to start getting used to that. That's going to become your normal size meal. I have a friend of ours that said, you eat like you're 80 years old. I said, right, because I have a capacity thing. I can't have too much. So I have small amounts. Do I want to eat more? Sure. But that goes back to, when I was in high school, we'd eat a whole pizza. We're not there. We're way past that. So, but today's agenda is I can have a small serving of something and be happy. So I eat slow. I savor my food. I recommend you do the same. Enjoy the bites. Chew your food thoroughly. Take your time. you're going to get fuller faster. And then if it's something amazing that you just ate, you got more to eat later. You got seconds. That's what I always think of, like, sweet, I'm eating this thing and it's delicious. I'm going to get some more tomorrow or later tonight or whatever it is, because I didn't eat it all. I get to eat it again. And again, that cuts back in your calories. You're less likely to store them, less likely to wear them. Remember, you storing them, you're wearing them. Okay. Keep that in mind. We're also going to talk about dining at home. When you're cooking at home, obviously you control the ingredients. You control the sodium. You control what kind of fats. You control how much fat is in everything. You control the ingredients. This should inevitably be cleaner, with less salt, less sodium, less things that are going to throw you out of whack. Again, sodium, sugars, all of those things are going to create an issue. Those all affect your hormones. Men and women, those are going to affect your hormones, especially that darn sugar. So you can control it. So be sure you're doing that. When you're eating out, you cannot control it. And eating out is also one of the huge, huge times that people are going to overeat. Always. Because again, they want to serve you giant portions and it's always salty. How many people are like thirsty or want something sweet after they eat? Because it's the salty sweet and your brain's just going crazy with whatever they just put in your food. So again, if you're at home cooking things, it's super clean. I've given you a bunch of recipes in the Cooking with a Coach. I show you how to do things, how to manipulate a recipe. Manipulate's not the right word. How to vary a recipe so you can make it to your liking and to your health parameters. So whether you're eating just whatever it is, you make it to your own. So, okay, dine at home. Eat soy. Soy is kind of a contentious thing. Soy for women is better because soy has been known to create a little bit of an estrogen bump. They say men don't eat a lot of soy. So if you have young men in your home, don't give them a lot of soy. There are a lot of studies about that. But for the women, it's not a bad thing. So you could tofu, soy milk, things like that. Sometimes at night, that also helps you sleep. Again, these are studies and things. You can try these. And when I say you're eating them at night, we're going to get into that in just a minute, but don't eat for like 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. 2 to 3 hours. And if you start getting hungry, we'll talk about a couple snack things that are options, but try not to eat late at night. So again, let's recap this thing. So skip as much dessert as possible, especially the junk that you're just eating because it's there. Skip sodas. Take those all the way out. Reduce calories. Just cut everything in half. I'm having a sandwich. Now I'm having half a sandwich. Instead of chips, I'm having an apple. Make the substitution right there. Make dinners as much as possible. Dinners, lunches, prepare your stuff at home. You know what you're eating. It's not that much extra work. I'm usually the meal prep guy for lunches and things, especially my son. I have a teenage son, goes to school. It's a quick throw together and it can be not horrible and it doesn't take that long. For myself, it's the same thing. I make sure that I have grab and go opportunities so that I'm not stuck with, okay, gee, I have no food. I'm just going to go get something out and I end up at a fast food place because that's no good either, right? The fast food, we're gonna go on location on one of these shows. We're gonna do fast food on location because it's fun. We'll show you how to eat okay, at least decent, at a fast food place. So, anyways, so dine at home, eat soy, and then consider supplements. Supplements are vitamins, minerals, things like that. Your food doesn't give you the same nutrients that it used to 10 years ago, 15 years ago. One apple now is 20 apples now is like one apple from 15 years ago. It takes a lot more food to get the nutrients. So consider a nice multi. I have some options, some of the things that we carry at empoweredfitness.com. Check there for the supplements and things, or shoot me a message. We have some that are specifically for women, collagen-based. But make sure you get a solid multi and the omegas in there. I always tell people the big threes: solid omega, multi, and then the D. That's going to get your immune boosting, help with the hair, skin, and nails. And then obviously the supplement is designed to fix the gap between what your food gives you and what your body really needs. There's a gap there. Always going to be a gap nowadays because the food's just crap now. So even if you think you're eating super healthy, you may still be deficient. So double check. Again, run some tests with your doctor if you so choose. But still, a multi and those are going to bridge that gap so you're at least closer to what your body really needs. So after those 5 things, all right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk about some other tips for you to continue this process. Again, so hopefully you took one of those away. Which one of those, think about it. Which one of those do you want to start doing, or can you start doing immediately to be better for yourself, more healthy? Okay, we'll be right back. everyone. We are back to living empowered. Okay, we talked about the estrogen on the first piece. The second piece, the bonus piece of this is going to be how to stay in control when late night hunger strikes. Who has that issue? Oh, that's me. I have been up to 200, almost 250 pounds before. So I can say I've been there. The coach, will you work out all the time? Blah, blah. I don't. I'm just like everybody else. Yes, I'm in the fitness business, but that doesn't mean I'm doing it all the time. I'm coaching, I'm working with people, I'm working on the business. So I'm like everybody else. I don't work out all the time. When I get home at night, I want to relax and chill out. Sometimes that used to mean just like the tub of ice cream. Can't tell you how many times I hit the bottom of the Ben & Jerry's bucket that I probably just opened. And I thought, oh, that's not going to be good. Now my stomach hurts. I just put in 10,000 calories or some ridiculous amount, and I feel horrible. And now I'm just going to be instantly fat because it was at nighttime. There's no other way. It's nighttime. You're eating that much ice cream. You're doomed. So when you get the late night hunger, a lot of the times it's a comfort thing or it's a habit thing. So here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. What usually happens is you stick to your diet all day because you have a routine. You're kind of going through. You may have some daily stress and other things, but if you can make it through the day, you're like, oh, victory. You have your dinner. You're doing well. Everything's going good. And you get to nighttime and you just kind of hit the unwind. You put the kids to bed. You do whatever. You shut everything off. You're like, oh, I would think I'm hungry. A lot of times you're not. So I want you to do two things. One, if you're just thinking, maybe I'm hungry, maybe I want to do something, just go have a glass of water. Start with that. See if your stomach fills back up. You're like, oh, okay, give it a couple minutes and see if that just kind of took the edge off. Sometimes it does. And sometimes it takes a little mental work to say, oh, no, that was habit. This is habit. I'm not really hungry. I just think I want something. This is what I used to do. That is totally me. So I want you to do that first and foremost. Like I said, do the easy stuff first. And then let's get in touch with a couple things, some research. The consensus of the research is it's best to eat when you're most active. Duh, you're like, duh, yeah, for sure. So after you train, after you do something, then eat because your body just used up a bunch of energy. You restore, replenish, replace. If the day went on and you didn't do much of anything, keep those calories peeled back. When you do that, it's also going to be less likely you're going to eat at night. Second thing, start with a healthy breakfast. You can go back to the breakfast is the most important meal of the day, except the one after you train, because that's the one that refuels your body. But when you eat a decent breakfast, when I say decent, I mean you've got maybe some fruit in there, some protein for sure. Protein slows your sugar rise right from the get-go and also helps curb your cravings the rest of the day. Studies will show that the more protein you eat early in the day, the less likely you are to crave sugar later in the day. Less likely to crave sugar. That's awesome for me. That's about when I start falling off. You get to that nap time, the sugar time, you're like, uh-oh, you start getting a little bit weak. That's when you need to be dialed in and find that protein again. Find something. So eat a solid breakfast. So make it rounded. This is not the Starbucks croissants and things like that. You can get a wrap. You can have yogurt with some stuff in it. And the yogurt, try not to make it a yogurt calorie bomb. That's like a salad calorie bomb. You start with lettuce, which is good, greens lettuce, and you put stuff all over it and cheese and dressing, and now it's a calorie bomb. Same with the yogurt. I've seen people take a nice cup of yogurt, they throw a ton of granola and a ton of fruit and put some honey on it, and all of a sudden, like, wow, that's a lot of sugar you just loaded in that yogurt that may or may not have sugar in it to start with. So a low sugar yogurt with some fresh fruit or some dehydrated fruit, which is what I kind of like, in there too, because it adds a little bit of crunch. It adds some nutrients without adding a ton of extra sugar because it's just the fruit. This is not the sugar added fruit. It's dehydrated dry fruit. So, and it absorbs the moisture from the yogurt anyways. That's a good way to go, but that's a nice solid way. And once your belly starts with a meal in it, you're going to be less likely to overeat as well. You're not going to get to lunchtime thinking, oh my gosh, I'm starving. I haven't eaten all day because all I had was that cup of coffee. So now you've got something, unless you're fasting, that's a whole other discussion, but have a decent breakfast. Get yourself started. Make it sure there's protein in there. Going to keep the sugar levels flat. Okay, that's going to help you during the day. I guarantee that. And then eat more frequently. These are the things you probably have heard before. You're like, coach, you're going to tell me the same old stuff. Maybe, but if you're not doing it, then maybe you need to hear it again. There's my coaching tough love right there. If you're not, I hear that time, oh yeah, I know what to do. Do you? Then why are you complaining still and asking me more questions? If you know what to do, go do it or stop complaining. It comes down to that. My wife actually said that. I'm like, oh man, I'm getting fat. She's like, so go do something about it. I'm like, just ate my own words right there. So like, I love it when they do that to me. But same deal. So eat more frequently, about every 4 hours or so is good. you don't have to wait till you're hungry. You don't have to do what the clock says. I get up pretty early in the morning, so when other people are eating breakfast, I'm about lunchtime. But I'm not always. I've been to lunch events and things. And they say, "Hey, come have some lunch." I'm like, "No, thank you, I'm good," because I ate like an hour before that, because that's when my clock is. I don't go by where I'm at necessarily. I go by my clock. Either A, it's about 4 hours, or B, I trained and I'm going to eat after I train. So that's better that way. But you still manage that, but eat more frequently. I had one person tell me that their diet was really dialed in. I said, "Oh, really?" The lady says, "Yeah, I'm just having one big meal, one big dinner meal once a day." Like, and breakfast and stuff. No, I usually skip that. I'll have coffee and whatever. But it wasn't skipping it in the fasting style. It was like, I'll have coffee with creamer and probably nitpick a couple things and a little tiny little snacks, grazing, and then one giant meal. That's a sure way to get fat too, because your body's in starvation mode. So it's going to keep a ton of calories from that meal, thinking, when am I going to get my next calories? It's going to keep those. It's not fasting if you don't do it right. So that's, she wasn't even thinking fasting. She just thought one meal was great. I thought, no, let's fix that, because one meal is not so good. She made the change and instantly started having some weight loss. She's like, "Oh my gosh, this really works." I'm like, it's not rocket science. You just need to employ the right things. And it's not fad diets either. Choosing healthy snacks. These days, you go in a supermarket and they've got so many great grab and goes. Our supermarket here, they got little buckets of chicken. You can just grab one to go. It's probably a single size serving of chicken. They got little serving size packages of apples, of carrots, of just about everything that's healthy. It does cost a little bit more, but it's the cost of the food versus the cost of you eating out, going through the drive-through somewhere, grabbing a burger instead of something really easy to eat. Big time difference. I'll take that extra money cost versus the health cost all day long, because health cost turns into ridiculous money costs later and other costs. So, but the healthy snacks and things, there's so many of them. There's like the nuts and cheese and things that come in packets. P3, just did advertising for them. P3 snacks are pretty decent. There's nuts, and there's usually either turkey or ham or chicken. I would lean towards the turkey and the chicken. It's cheese, nuts, and turkey. Not bad. And it's a small serving, just enough to take that edge off. It's only supposed to be a snack. It's not a meal. But if you have those available to you, it's easier to grab something and be ready to go, rather than like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?" And that's when you eat junk. It's just like the water concept. Drink more water. Keep your water bottle close by. Otherwise, you're going to go get something else. You're not going to drink it if it's not there, right? Simple. You'll eat the good food if it's there. Again, very simple. Consume more fiber. Fiber can come from a lot of different sources. That's definitely fruits, vegetables, things like that. I call them live foods, not the dead foods. The dead foods are your proteins, your meats and cheeses and things like that. Fiber is healthy. There's vegetables, greens, oranges, reds, things like that. Put them at every meal. If you need a fiber supplement, check them out online. If you have questions on that, you can ask me what I do, because I take with my digestive system. I have to have some. So I have a great little recipe that I have. Not everybody can do it, because you got to kind of chug it down. It's not horrible. It doesn't taste bad. You just got to chug it down. But there's other small, easy things to do. And just keep your system moving, because if you're not going to the bathroom as many times as you're eating, you're backing up with everything else, because you're processing no matter what you're doing. And if it's not leaving or you're not using it, it's going to start plugging up the belly, and your belly's going to distend. That's when I always know my fiber's down, because my belly starts sticking out. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not getting fatter. I know I'm not getting fatter. I got a fat machine that tells me I'm not. That just means my belly's full, and I need to get more fiber in there to start moving things along. But fiber is very important for a lot of different reasons, and your body will skip all the reasons. But definitely people don't have enough fiber because we're eating too much processed and junk foods. Limiting your portions. We talked about that in the first section. Keep them small, cut everything in half, and then save it for later. Trust me, once you get used to that, you're not going to starve that way. You're going to get used to eating smaller. Your body's going to process it. Your metabolism's going to go up. Only good things will happen from that. So try that. If nothing else, do that. And then make your liquid consumptions water and tea, mostly. I'm a coffee guy. I'm about to limit down to 0, because and my body needs a change. So I'm going to go the water and the tea. Just got to be clean tea. Brewed tea is the best, but water and tea. Keep it clean in your system. The more you can do that, the cleaner your system's going to be. All right. So simple. So eat more frequently, choose healthy snacks, consume more fiber, limit your portion, drink more water, and start with a healthy breakfast. There's the best one. First one, healthy breakfast. If you're not sure about the breakfast, we got a pretty cool recipe. I can't tell you what episode it's on, but we made our own egg bites, like the Starbucks deals. We made our own because, again, now I know what's in mine. I don't know what's in theirs. Probably some stuff that I don't need or I don't like, but I know exactly what's in mine. And they're super clean. They're homemade, so you put whatever you want in them. They are to your liking. So see if you can check back on a couple of shows. You'll see the breakfast one with the little homemade egg bites, and it's so easy to make. And then once you've got, you make a whole tin of them. You can put some in the fridge or the freezer or whatever, but you've always got them. Again, that's now a grab and go snack. I'll eat them during the day, just an extra protein snack. Sometimes I'll throw chicken in mine. Not everybody can do that, but chicken and some jalapenos or some onions or something just full of flavor, olives. So you get a little bit of that olive oil in there. A lot of different things you can do. They're really loaded full of good tastiness. And again, you're going to want to eat this stuff versus your food should never be, ooh, bad, I'm on a diet and it's horrible. It should never, ever, ever be that. There's too many good things, sauces and spices and all of that. So anybody that says, ooh, dieting's horrible, my food's boring, you need to work on some cooking and some recipes. I can help you with that too. If you need that, let me know. So on that note, I hope you took a couple things away with you today. Either one of those suggestions. If you've got questions, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, give me a comment under here. I'm always happy to help you. I don't charge to help you. I just coach, and I will coach you and help you for free. I just want you to feel better and be better and live more empowered. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned because we're going to go cooking with the coach just coming up next. So hang on. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. As promised on a previous episode or two, we're going in the kitchen to make breakfast. I get a lot of times people like, Coach, I don't know what to start breakfast with. I don't know what to have. What's good? How's a bagel and cream cheese? That has protein, right? Well, sort of. Cream cheese has a little bit to it. That's not a protein breakfast. Your bagel's got 60 to 65 grams of carbs in it. That's an awful lot in one sitting. So keep that in mind as well. So we're going to go a different direction. One of my favorites. Best way to start your day is with a protein. Two reasons. One, it slows your digestive process right away. It controls your blood sugar so you don't get an immediate spike as from like a donut, a bagel, something like that. So you don't spike and crash, an hour or two later unless you're pounding the coffee. Also a false energy source, but I love my coffee as well. If you know me, love the coffee. But so we're going to start with a protein for that reason. Also, when you start your day with a protein, you are less likely to crave sugars throughout your day. That's what protein also does for you. Besides, ladies, I want you thinking hair, skin, and nails. So you want that beautiful all the time. The protein is in every cell of your body. You've got to keep the proteins up. That doesn't mean overeat it. You're not going to get big from protein. That's a different discussion. But so here's what we got. We got egg bites today. Okay, you see them at the local coffee place and other places. One of the coffee places that's really good. The rest of them are not usually typically good. So we're going to make our own. We're going to make grab and goes because to have a grab and go is super easy, always sets you up for success. What I mean by grab and go is you open the fridge and go, oh my gosh, what am I having? Ooh, the egg bites are there. I'm having those. Okay, so we're going to make those today for you. Again, it doesn't take long. Prep time doesn't take long. They take 17 minutes or so to cook them. Then you just let them cool, separate them, freeze them, and now you've got them in the freezer if you want to bring them out later, if you made a couple batches. Cool part, too, is you can make them for all the tastes of the family. We've made some plain ones for you already earlier. I'm going to make some little fancier ones right now because I like stuff in mine. Stuff is either crunchy or I add some good oils to it through via olives. And a little spice once in a while, a little jalapeno spice maybe, if you're up for that. So here we go. We're going to start with, we're going to make it right now. We're going to start with, get your bowl for mixing. It's all going to go in here. Our ingredients, we're going to go with eggs. Got to have the eggs to start it, right? If you're egg yolk conscious, you're thinking about cholesterol and I shouldn't eat so many yolks, then you can use more egg whites than yolks. So back in my earlier days, I would go to 2-to-1 whites to a yolk, just to get the protein in. Now, if you're somebody that's like, oh, I don't want to waste them, then don't. But also you get about 3 grams of protein in a white, 3 grams of protein in the yolk. The yolk provides you your vitamins and minerals. The white is solid protein. That's why you get some protein powders. I've got one actually. There's an egg white protein. It's solid protein, which is really good. So we got that. Now there is milk in this, but we went with the lactate. You can actually mix and match your milks as well. Not a fan of regular milk because remember, milk's kind of an allergen in your body. We don't like that. Cheese, regular cheddar. Saving the good. This is Gruyere cheese. This is the fancy cheese. Oh, it smells so good. That's going to make it super creamy, super rich. We're going to add some nutrients in ours. We're going with a bit of chopped spinach today. Now, again, my stuff's already pre-prepped and chopped for, the TV purposes, but really, you grab it out of a bag, you throw it in. You got like about a half cup of each of the cheeses, half cup of spinach. We're going with bacon today. Yeah, Coach, bacon's fatty. Yes, it is, but if you're going to go for bacon with a little bit of flavor, we're not eating strips of bacon. We're having pieces of flavor of bacon. Also got the no nitrate, no nitrites. So all of the strong sodium toxic things are out of the bacon. So it's much better for you. If you're going to eat it, eat the good stuff. It's like we could have a drinking conversation. If you're going to drink the good stuff, not the junk. And a little bit of, about a half teaspoon of salt and pepper for taste. We are going to start with eggs. We're going to crack them in. I'm going to tell you a bacon story right here because it's funny. I had a gal in one of my classes, one of my nonprofit classes. I was teaching 8th graders at the time. We were talking about bacon. Someone said, hey, is bacon good for you? Not good for you? It's a protein. It's a meat, right, Coach? Well, yeah, it's a meat. It's a fatty meat. It has a little bit of protein, but bacon as a flavor item, not necessarily a full meat. That's my protein item. And this poor girl sitting over to the side of the room, she's looking really kind of worried and concerned. I said, hey, you look really concerned about this bacon. The look on your face tells me something's up. What is it? And she says, I think maybe I'm having too much bacon. I said, really? I said, how much bacon are you having? My mind, I'm thinking she's going to say, every day she's having 2 or 3 strips, something like that, or a few times a week she's eating a bunch of it. She says, I'm eating like 3 pieces a month. Like, look, everybody looked at her like, wow, if we only ate 3 pieces of bacon a month in an entire month, you're doing okay. So again, your perception matters, but also, context and a little common sense. You can have some bacon. Don't eat a lot because again, it's going to clog your arteries and all those other things if you eat too much of it. So keep it in context, keep it in control. Use it as just a flavoring thing. Okay, eggs are in. Let's give them a little whisk. I went with 7 eggs. I went straight up. We're going regular eggs, full egg, full yolk in this one because that's the way we're making it today. All right, I'm going for the extra protein. Boom, that is in. We're going to add our milk. Again, just a lactose-free milk, as I started to say. This is regular milk, but it's just lactose-free. I go the 2% because, again, I don't need the extra fat from the milk. 2% is fine. It'll do the job here. And if we're going to have the milk, we definitely want to keep it lactose or oat, almond. Best milk for you is coconut milk. Best one, hands down. Adds a really nice little flavor, too. I've become a big fan of the coconut milk. It's awesome. Okay, we've got that in there. I'm just going to throw salt and pepper in here now so they can just keep getting continuously stirred. Little tap, tap, tap. There we go around the edges. Whisk away. Put my dishes in the sink so as to not make a huge mess because that's what I like to do. Okay, that's in. We're going to put in the Gruyere. Ooh, this is going to be good. Can't wait for this. Good. So begin somewhere about a half cup's good. Again, you can go to flavor. If you want them cheesier, put the cheese in. Just remember, more cheese is more fat. I'm a cheese guy. I don't typically have any other dairy except the cheese because I love the cheese. This would be enough. With this many eggs, this is going to blend right in. These are going to be super delicious. You're going to like them. Your kids are going to like them. Hopefully your spouse and partner likes them. Okay, we're going for spinach. Again, about a half cup of spinach because that adds nutrients. Remember, when you're adding greens, add your dark greens. Your dark greens are the ones that are full of nutrients. The lighter the green, the less nutrients. In iceberg lettuce, say it with me, no nutritional value. That's right, no nutritional value in dark green lettuce. That is typically just a vehicle to get the bacon, the cheese, the chicken, the other stuff right in the pie hole. The good stuff. Here we go. A little bit of bacon. Let me make sure. Oh, yeah, that's good. All right, so we pre-made the bacon. Again, you can pre-make this stuff and make some extras. Just keep them in the fridge. or throw them in the freezer if you want to cook these fresh as you go. Just thaw it out the day before. When it's all ready to go, throw them in the oven that next day. Okay, now I know my kid won't eat the one with the spinach and stuff in it, but this is for me. I'm going to show you his in just a minute. So we got these just about all mixed up. Now, again, that didn't take us very long. If I was pulling from a package, it still would have taken about that long because a half a cup of cheese is about a good handful. So a handful in, I like to cook like grandma cooks, handful of this, handful of that, sprinkling of this, sprinkling of that. As long as we're not baking, you can get away with that. As long as you know your tastes and you've been doing this a while, then you can get away with that. So here we go. We're good with this. I'm going to set this aside for a second. Here's something really important for you to make this work out. Now, what I've got here, I have a silicone muffin tin. Silicone allows these eggs to not stick. If you're using a metal tin, highly recommend you use a little foil, the little foil cups in there. Don't put them in the tin on their own. They will stick. You'll never get them out. Even if you spray them, they likely won't come out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to line it. I don't have any spray, so what I'm going to go with is a little bit of vegetable oil around the edges because, again, I don't want them to stick here either. Even though it's the silicone and not the metal, it still will stick if we don't give it a little bit of love. So I'm giving it a little bit right here. These are going to be so good. I cannot wait. Now, as far as eating eggs during the day, I'm a breakfast guy. I'll eat eggs anytime. That's one of my go-tos. I like them. I like them with stuff in them. Again, because eggs are kind of like an amazing miracle glue. You can just put all kinds of stuff in them, and it changes your flavors. It's fun to make them. Kids can make. It's one of the things I learned to make early as a young man. I learned how to make the eggs, flipping the omelets, and my family's like, "Woo, look at that!" It's pretty fun. Like you get the pan, you can flip it. It took a few times because a few of those hit the sink. Won't lie, a few of them hit the sink. So, all right, here we go. So once we've got this all set, we're just going to do a little bit of pour. I'm going to pour about a half a cup in each one of these to start. Let's see how this goes because these are going to puff up on you. These are called, if you look them up, they're also called popovers or pop-ups. Depends on who's writing the recipe. Everybody adds their own flair to everything. So we're going to do the same. I'm going to go about half full. They're going to go about half full to start. Don't forget to put the stuff as you're going. I'm just noticing that the heavy stuff's hitting the bottom. So be sure that while you're pouring these, you're getting all the stuff off the bottom also. So we're going to have some that are a little bit more meaty than others. That's all right. I'm all right with that too. Okay, so I went around and made sure everybody had half at least to start. And we do. Now, as I realize, there's a little bit of good chunkiness missing here, the good kind of chunkiness missing here. So I'm going to go back, kind of refill these. This poor guy didn't get enough. Make sure everybody's pretty close to even here for even in the cooking. This guy gets a little more love right here. Beautiful. Okay, so what we've got is basically the cheese, bacon, spinach in our cookings here. What I'm going to do is add a little bit more love to these. I'm starting to like olives. My cardiologist says eat more good fat. That comes from olives, avocados, things like that. So we're going to go and we are going to drop just a couple of olive slices in a few of these. Just a couple. I'm going to drop them in whole and just kind of see where they come out. You can mix it in, but again, if you mix them in, that's one more heavy thing that's likely going to go to the bottom. So we're going to make sure, this way we make sure everybody's got a little bit, and we're good to go. And we're going to add one more super fancy thing in just a second. This is a good way to get in some of that good fat. Coach, it's fat. Yes, it is. Yes, there is good fat and there is bad fat. Animal fat is your bad fat. What's the stuff that sticks to your arteries? Olive oil, olives, avocados, that is heart healthy fat. There is both. I know it's a little confusing sometimes, but there is both. If you have questions because you read something on the internet somewhere that somebody said, shoot me an email, shoot me a text. Say, Coach, need a little help with this? Because I love talking to nutrition and the facts and things. Just trying to make sure people get a good understanding of how the stuff really works. Vitamins, nutrition, the whole deal. I love all of that. I am just putting a little bit of this. I'm evening my guys out a little bit here. Just realized that I got a little bit of inequity in here. I want everybody to have the love. Good. Actually, I really want them to do is cook evenly. Don't need to burn anyone. Well, anybody is undercooked, don't undercook your eggs. Not a good idea. Some people like the runny egg. I'm not a good fan of that. Okay, beautiful. There we go. All right. As previously noted, we're going to add a little bit of extra love in here. Now, I'm going to give Trader Joe's a pop here. The hot and sweet jalapenos from Trader Joe's, they are in a little bit of a sugar sauce, but we're not eating the sauce. I'm just going to drop a jalapeno in each one of these. So again, I'm not loading them up. I personally can't handle too much spice. I love it. It just doesn't like me. So I'm going to put a little bit of this. I'm just going to drop one in each one. You're a little one. Whoop, that. Okay. I just lied. There went 3 in that one. Don't tell whoever eats that one. That's going to be a surprise. Here we go. Now you can dice these up. You can use green chilies. You can use artichokes. You can use ham. You can use turkey. You can use chicken. Whatever you like in your eggs, you can make these yourself. Now, when you go to other stores and things to buy them, of course, you're at their mercy of whatever they have there. I've seen it with kale and all kinds of other things. I'm not a fan of that personally. But so this is what's in my wheelhouse right here. So what we got eggs for protein. We've got the spinach for a little bit of extra nutrients. We've got olives in here added for the olive oils, the good fats. We've got a little sweet, spicy jalapeno to be sassy in our eggs, like sassy eggs. The Gruyere cheese is going to be creamy goodness. We're ready to go. These are going to go in the oven for about 17, 18 minutes, and about 385 is your temperature. So we're going to just pretend that we're putting these in. Actually, I'm not pretending I'm putting them in. I am putting these bad boys in. I'm just going to set them aside for a second, though. And magically, as if, boom, here's a whole new plate of them. Now, here's what they look like when they come out. Get this stuff out of the way. Here is your beautiful plate of egg whites on a sunny, bright yellow page. Now, these are just straight up egg, cheese, meat. So these are the ones that, likely the kids are going to eat, but still reasonably healthy. They're reasonably healthy because we just control the ingredients we put in them. That's the biggest part of cooking versus eating out is you control what's in these ingredients. The ones from the other store, the coffee place, I think are 300 to 500 calories, depending on which ones you get for 2. That's a lot. I don't know exactly all the ingredients that are in those. And to me, they're a little high on the sodium. I can just taste it. I don't know how much is in it. I haven't looked it up, honestly, but it just tastes high on the sodium. Now, I know how much sodium's in here. I only put like a half a teaspoon in that whole 7 eggs worth. That's not a lot. That's just enough for flavor. We're letting the food flavor itself. That's also why I like the jalapenos and the olives and the other things in here. That adds the zest. It adds the flavor. It adds the crunch. All of those things that tells your brain, oh, this is such savory, delicious, and goodness. And your body gets this as a protein item and says, I'm good to go. And your head gets the other piece that says, hey, I just had a physical victory because I just had something healthy for breakfast. And again, kids, unless you're fasting, I got a great fasting program, but unless you're fasting, if you're actually eating breakfast, this is a great way to go. Again, you control what's in it. Your whole family can eat it. You'll enjoy it. I'm going to totally dig on eating these. So I got the other ones that are about to drop in the oven. So make your own recipe. Share with us. Let us know what you like. Post yours back up. Share with our group. Share with our community. We'll post it back up and share with everybody else. So hopefully you enjoy these. And this is a super easy way for you to make breakfast, have it ready to go, and help your body be empowered. So until next time, thanks for cooking with Coach in the kitchen on Living Empowered. So see you next time.